Hello, Florida. This is Joe Mullins of the Live Workshop Play Show, and it's exciting time show. We are for the first live video podcast. Yes, that's right. This show is not only going to be audio, it's going to become video as well. We're going to have our guests come in. They're going to be showing their side, their pictures, their faces. So you know what? The old days of me coming in with a T-shirt on, a flip-flops on, and a hat and not looking good, those have got to change. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do with all the people that say, you got a face for radio. You know what? My new listeners and the listeners can kind of see here with the new show where it should go. But, you know, today's show is very special. I've got a guest with me, as you can see. I've got my son, Jessie Mullins. Jessie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dad. I'm glad to be on the show. And I guess this is gonna be like a milestone for the Joe Mullins show because I am one of the first guests to be on a podcast.
It is exciting. This is probably your first podcast, isn't it?
Yes,
And it's exciting. And what I want to talk about today to our listeners and why I brought Jessie on and why it's such a special show, not only that it's the inaugural show of the new version we're doing, but also talk about the evolution of how we get our news and how we get our information. It has changed so much since I was Jessie's age. Jessie, you're 10 years old.
Yes.
All right. And Jessie at the age of 10 probably gets more media information than I did at the age of 30. It's amazing seeing it. And, you know, if we talk about things and how things have evolved over the years, it's crazy. You know, if you look back many years ago when I was 10 years old, I remember listening to my first Spider-Man. You know who Spider-Man is, Jessie, right?
Yep,
I listened to
Spider-Man.
my first Spider-Man show. It wasn't a movie. It wasn't going to a cinema. It was on a record that I put on a record player. And I don't even think do you even know what a record is?
I do.
All right. It was on a record and I put it on the record player and it played Spider-Man and you could hear it all without seeing anything and you could get it excited. And I remember sitting there listening to him every night and hearing about these amazing Spider-Mans. That's how we got some of our video entertainment and news and different stuff by playing on a record. And it was so delayed. Then as I got a little older, I started listening to the radio. And how often do you listen to the radio today, Jessie? True radio. Go to the radio station, to the radio, playing cut on the radio.
Like, would you say like in a car? You mean kind of?
No, at home.
At home? Really never.
Wow. Think about when we were young. Now I'm 55 years old. I'll be 55 July 27th. So I'm 55 years old. When I was young, the radio, you couldn't move without a radio being in your home and listening to it. And that's how you got a lot of your information. If you we're fortunate to have a TV, which we did in the 70s. We had TVs. You had the little clicker things that you'd sit there and click. And Jessie, you'd die if you saw that. The remote control was nothing but 3 buttons that you could cut it on and off by a button. And then you could go up and down with the channels. If you had volume you wanted to do, you had to get up and go cut the volume up. But you couldn't, your generation would die with something like that. It's basically like hiding the remote. And that was a crazy time. And that's how we got our information. We had 3 channels. We had 3 stations. And by 11:30 at night, you had the national anthem playing and it was signing off. And there was no TV after midnight. Could you imagine that? What were you doing up at 1 o'clock last night?
Last night at 1 o'clock, I was watching the TV.
You were watching TV. Can you imagine TV shutting off at a certain time?
And just at the TV off for just a long period of time.
Now he's talking about how they had a storm and they had the storm come through Georgia and it knocked out power and cable for so long. But that brings up a good subject. If you think about this clearly. How many times have we been to bed and we woke up in the middle of the night and there's a war going on or something broke out, chaos in the other part of the world, or we've woke up to news. I mean, at 9/11, we watched a tower going into real time by a plane. As a child, that's unheard of. We wouldn't even had that. There wouldn't have been any video. It's been good and it's been bad having this video. But as I grew up a little bit more, we went from the channels to then all of a sudden we went to a thing called cable. And cable now is obsolete. It's not around. We went to cable where you were watching cable all the time. And Jessie, what you see as cable would be similar to Netflix but it was just one thing only, and you didn't have the choice. You watched whatever a person in another city, another town, another area programmed and put on. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine existing like that? Now let's go back to radio. Let's talk about radio. Radio's evolved. When I was your age, I used to call in, and I actually was in school, and you're talking about a major things that lay your future. I never thought I'd have a podcast. I never thought I'd have a radio show. I never thought I'd be talking to thousands of listeners across the country. But I actually, in school, when I was Jesse's age, met a guy. It was career day, and they brought in a guy, Dick Shannon. He was a DJ from a local radio station in my hometown. And I really took to him, and he took to me. And all I know is I said, I love what he does. I want to be a DJ when I grow up. We had guys on the radio that would say jokes, that would talk about some different things, and they would be on there, and you could call in and they'd interact and talk to you. Can you imagine getting up and being able to do that and interacting with the show you're listening to?
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was like, but that we had never got to do that before. So radio was live. It was always something you could go see. They had remotes at different locations, and you'd go to that location feeling the energy going, oh my God, anybody's here, because these guys, and hearing the comedian part of what they do are just the differences. And this was back in a time where, you couldn't even show any skin on TV, but the DJ turned around and said, yeah, it's so cold outside that squirrels are scraping ice off their nuts. And the whole town went crazy hearing that and said, oh my God, he painted such a visual that people actually took it to another level, thinking, oh my God, this is improper to say on the radio. You can't say this on the radio. But it was FCC okay, because squirrels eat nuts, and their nuts were frozen, what they were talking about. So we're talking about being able to have a lot of creative vision to be able to hear and listen as a child. Whereas now today, the media that you see, Jessie, you just look at it and see a video, and a lot of times it doesn't even have words to it. You're just seeing something funny. Do you not see that happening today?
I mean, no, not really.
You don't see when you cut on the YouTube channel, you're watching it and you're just watching funny videos happen? You guys watch these all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's something, it's different. We didn't have the visual entertainment like you guys have today, and it's really involved. And it just makes you wonder, you're 10 years old. What is it going to be like when you're 30, 40, and 50? Where's this going to go? Could you imagine back when we were 10 years old, or a person was in the 70s and 80s, that we would be where we are with technology today? I remember seeing a pager for the first time, being shocked at how amazing the pager was and how we could communicate through it. And then all of a sudden the pager went obsolete, and now it's the cell phones, and now it's video. I remember first seeing my video call. I was like, oh my God, I can actually see a person on the other end and talk to them and see that they're real. It was crazy. Jessie, that's just a normal everyday. You FaceTime people all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I
Can
do.
you imagine having to communicate to your brother or your sister or your mom or your dad by doing it by mail?
Oof. Yeah.
Can you imagine picking up a phone and having to call an operator to connect you to the person that you wanted to speak to?
Mm.
Or even this, and I love this, the old rotary dial phones. And Jessie, you don't understand about that. The rotary dial phones. I still have the dreams at night where I'm laying there and somebody's coming to attack me. And I'm like, oh God, I got to call help. And I dial the phone, and I don't spin it just right enough. And I do a 7 instead of an 8. And I go, oh my God, I got to start all over. And I click the phone, and I'm going, that's what a rotary phone. Could you imagine using a rotary phone where you're sitting there trying to do it? You couldn't do it today.
It's one of those phones where it has like the phone at the top, and it has one of those boxes at the bottom. You like spin it, and then it has all the numbers.
Yeah, that's it. That's a
Yeah.
rotary phone. See, he even knows, and a lot of kids don't even have a clue with that, but he sees a lot of vintage stuff traveling with me and getting to see stuff all over with the sporting and entertainment events. So it's a lot of fun. But the technology has moved so much. And that's why this show said we've got to turn around, and we have got to move forward, and we've got to go to the next level of presenting these stories, because we love bringing in people to speak, and you hear the other side of the story. We will still get the visual. We still create it in audio. We'll still talk a lot, but having the visual is so important today, and watching the way technology evolves. We got more to come. We'll be right back. And we want to welcome you back. And it's such an exciting show. And I got my little sidekick with me, Jessie Mullins, my son, 10 years old, from Georgia, Jesse's able to be down here. We're talking about technology and the way it's evolved and how the show is now doing its first podcast, its first video part of it, how video has become so crucial. Explaining to Jesse, who's 10 years old, how we used to hear video and news and information back when I was 10. We didn't have cameras. We didn't have video phones. We didn't have things like that. Jesse, when we do cameras, we had Polaroids, and you've got to see Polaroids a little bit. They put the picture right out at you, and you have it, and you can take the picture, but you don't do, there was no idea. Nobody even had a clue about video. It was like nobody will ever video. Then you turn around and we saw the first video players. We'd take those and see them, and then all of a sudden you could see people move and you could see people talking, and it was real life. And it was a way someone that you may have lost, a loved one, and you go, "Oh my God, I feel like I know him." Like you, my father died when I was 2. I never got to hear his voice. I never got to see how he acted or moved because there was no video back then. I've seen some pictures of him, but could you imagine something like that devastatingly happen and you not ever getting to know in video or picture or anything about who that close person was that everybody's talking about?
Yeah, that would be terrible.
Be terrible, but
Yeah,
it's a way to hold on to something. So these memories we've been able to capture and being able to do, and it's amazing.
yeah. Like I don't know if anyone in my family has like a video of my uncle because I haven't heard his voice. I haven't.
His voice is, and he's talking about his uncle Fred, my very famous brother, who was a burn doctor, well known all over the world, unexpectedly died at 54. And we have all this great video and these things that he did. And Jesse hasn't seen them, but that's the beauty about the technology and the way it's going. We can capture moments forever. We can see them instead of writing things down. It kills the imagination a little bit, but it enables you to be able to see it real time in real life. And it's pretty fascinating. And Jesse, if you ever want to hear his voice, just speak. You sound just like him. That's one
Yeah.
of his biggest things. He loves to Fred. But we talk about family and we talk about live, workshop, play, and you can't go without talking about family and interaction and things that evolve. Living in a community, you're living with your family members, you're living with people, shopping in it. You're usually shopping for a loved one or shopping for yourself or doing something for someone you care about. Working, you work. I mean, my God, we all go to work right now, and I'm working for these little guys and making it work. And then playing. It's nothing more fun than taking your child out there and playing. But the technology has taken it to such a different level. And listeners say, if you go onto our Facebook page, you go onto our social media, Live, Workshop, Play, or the Joe Mullins Show, which is what it's going to be branded to and we're moving to, we'll always still talk about the 4 major topics. But we'd love to hear your feedback and go into it. And you can listen to our podcast at any time or our show at any time by going to themullinscompanies.com on the internet or going to one of our local radio stations, which is Salem Media. Salem is an amazing station, and we're live with them now in Tampa. We're in Tampa broadcasting this. You can see our beautiful Tampa City skyline. It is amazing here. But we talk about issues that affect all 4,000 counties across the country. I was shocked as a county commissioner when I went in and heard how much other counties throughout the country were dealing with the same growth problems, infrastructure problems, deferred maintenance problems, public safety issues, how it was a topic in all counties across the country. But technology has helped us in many ways advance that to be able to communicate and see similar things. And that's why it's so great to be able to do this show today and be able to advance to it. The other thing, now we're going to talk about a flip side of technology. We just saw it recently. Technology can be devastating and it can impact you. Let's mention the Coldplay concert. You got to talk about it. It's one of the hottest topics right now. People talking about what happened at the Coldplay. Or I'm sitting by my brother, a buddy of mine, and I get the kiss cam, and I'm like, why can't I'm sitting by some beautiful woman? I don't ever get that. But they laid into this couple. They know his human resources director that don't even follow it. I just sit there and go, oh my God, thank God something else is going on. And it's not the famous Ferrari video that I was in. So it's a very exciting seeing someone else get some of the drama instead of me. But we talk about technology and how great it's been. It is impactful. It's devastated. Seeing this, their kids responding, their people responding. Jesse, as a child, and we talk about real things and I always talk to you about life and certain things. How would you feel finding out on the news something happened to your family member versus hearing it first from someone you care about?
It'd be terrible. Like, that's just it's terrible losing a family member and then not even getting it, like, knowing it happened from a family member, but, like, seeing it on the news.
Yeah. Technology has enabled it, and it's also done it to a point where your hometown, you had a police officer that was killed in action, and somebody videoed it, and it was out before the family even knew it was of their child or their husband, and it was very concerning. And matter of fact, a local radio guy up there started playing the video and putting it out there, and it showed the police officer lying on the ground before he passed away. I just think technology is wonderful in many ways, but is so dangerous in so many ways. You got to be careful of it. You got to make sure it's used correctly. Who knows where it's going to evolve to? I think one day people say, you know, you're going to have cameras on you, and you go, We'll never have a camera on us. We'll never see a camera." Who knows what happened one day? You never know what they may replace an eyeball with. You put it in, and it's silly stuff we talk about today, but we see so much technology and evolution going. It's almost scary to wonder where it's going to end up. But, I go back to the days I listened to my news on the radio, and I used to listen to the Georgia games, and I'd hear it on the radio, and I heard Herschel Walker, he's to the 10, he's to the 20, he's to the 30. He might go all the way with Larry Munson. Larry Munson was amazing, but that was radio. And he was able to create the visual by speaking in excitement and speaking in tone. Whereas when you see TV today, you see a lot of it created by imagery, whereas radio evolving. So, I asked the question in the beginning, and I've said it many times: is radio dead? Is radio gone? Absolutely not. Here's the other side of that: things are changing and things are evolving. Radio just recently came out. Many people, the majority of the country, say the most trustworthy news source is not TV. It's not the news. It's radio. They trust radio. They trust the people on the radio. Local. You get your local feeling. Who knows better what songs that are good in our area but a local DJ, a local person playing? When you get the syndicated stuff in, are they playing for the Hispanic group down in Miami? Are they playing for the country group up in North Florida? Are they playing for the middle of the road, easy listeners, retirees in middle part of Florida? Or what are they playing for? So that's why radio is so crucial and so important, and it's such a big thing. Having the video added to it makes it exciting because you're real time and you're seeing it, and it's an amazing thing. And I love having it. I love having it. I love having you guys on here, but it is so different. I mean, I'm not coming in anymore with my hat on and running in doing it from Miami. You're going to be more real time and more seeing it. So radio has been able to evolve into an amazing thing. It's not going to go away. You talk about syndication, you talk about different things. It's not going to go away. The best way to get information out, I'm sorry, I ran an ad about my show in the newspaper the other day. 4 people turned around and said, "Great ad." I had a show on the radio. Hundreds of thousands of it complimented it and said on social media how great the show was and how great they were talking. Radio's not dead. Radio's just beginning. It's evolving. It's going into a thing called a podcast. It's going into where you can listen to it at any time. You don't just have to listen to it one time and go, "What did I hear? I'm trying to remember." Radio's not dead. Radio's just beginning. And who's your age? Another little flashback to the thing. Can you imagine walking around with a boombox the size of a TV that you watch on your shoulder, listening to music right at your ear?
Well, I mean, I have seen in movies, like, people
That
with
was real. That
boomboxes.
was real.
Yeah,
That was real. People really did that.
like in
I did that. Your dad did that. I had the big boom box and it glowed and it went to different colors. And I said, "Man, this is the coolest thing." My shoulder hurt at the end of the day, but I had it.
yeah. And that little phone thing you were talking about too. My mom has one of those, like, old ones. You would go in, like, one of those telephone things, you put in a coin, you get it,
He's talking about a payphone.
a
Now you're
payphone,
talking about
yeah.
a dinosaur thing, a payphone. I always thought about this. There was a song that was made. Here's a quarter, call someone who cares. And I thought about it with Travis Tritt. How the heck do you call somebody now with a quarter? You don't call with a quarter. So maybe he's got here's a cell phone, call someone who cares. So if you did the new version of that, that was called a payphone. You had to have a
Yeah.
quarter and you had to go to the phone and put it in and dial the number and you get someone.
Yeah, there was this little spot that a payphone like or a phone like that was supposed to go, like a phone that
Yeah.
wasn't a payphone, but like it's like people had it back then. You'd grab it, put in the number, call. But it was supposed to go there, but my mom didn't have one of those phones, so she had a little decoration that looked like one. She put it on there.
Isn't it crazy how things have evolved for us, our kids, and hearing them talk and stuff like that? Stuff that was so normal for us is now gone. A payphone booth. Superman. Do you know how Superman changed into his costume?
Oh, Superman? No, not
We just
really.
you and I just watched the Superman movie.
Yeah.
Superman didn't he traditionally went into a phone booth and changed. Did you see a phone booth in the new Superman movie?
Nope.
No, there's not any anymore. So Superman now just kind of rips the clothes off and he's there. It's crazy how the technology has gone. But one thing you can honestly say, there's some things that have grassroots to them. There's some things that are going to connect. There's some things that'll never change. And one of the beautiful things that I can say go into that category is radio. Radio
Yeah.
is evolving to different, but you still listen to it. You now listen to it on a phone. You now can get a Bluetooth speaker and you can listen to it. You don't have to carry the giant boombox to the beach anymore. You can listen to it, but it still is one of the main sources of entertainment. It brings you the music in many different ways.
And like he said, radio is just beginning.
Jesse, I love having you on the show, and it's always fun seeing what this guy's going to evolve into. You know, I think about the media and the technology, and you see where it goes. As a parent, and I know a lot of parents can understand because we got a lot of parent listeners just looking at these little guys thinking about what they're going to be 20, 30, 40 years from now and what the impact they're going to make on the country. You know, we got to do our job and make sure we got them a country safe. We got to make sure that we keep things great and we keep things safe and we keep our community strong. And as a politician, I learned that the hard way. I did it for my kids. A lot of these guys do it for their kids, but just seeing it. But imagine this, they now get to take a video like this, watch it 20 years later, and look into that and see this was real life. It's not a movie portraying something. We are our movies. We are doing them every day. These virtual shows, these reality shows that we're seeing today, they are better, the best time capsules that we ever see. We don't have to dig down and open up a thing and read something that says what the country was like. We now have video and it's out there. There can be some positives with it and there can be some negatives. But one thing I'll say, Jesse, I want to welcome you being on the show today. I want to thank you for coming on. You're welcome to come on anytime. And someday
Yeah.
I'd love you to host it. You probably will. You'll probably have the Jesse Mullins show, but I would call it the Son of Joe Mullins show.
Or we can call it the Junior Show.
The Junior show. There you go. The Junior show. But one thing we'll say is the technology and the beauty of radio, it makes our communities the best place to live, work, shop, and
And
play.
play.
And now, taking that, go out, tune in that radio, get it big, go to Salem Media, one of our best stations, or any of the stations we're broadcasted on. Listen to them. Our show airs pretty regularly. But if you miss it, you can always go to our podcast, The Joe Mullins Show, on Facebook and Instagram, or you can go to themullinscompanies.com on the internet and listen to us anytime. But one thing I'll say, this will make the radio and our entertainment makes our country, our state, our community the best place to live, work, shop, and play in. Have a great weekend. Get out to those beaches, enjoy this summer, and take care.